officer today at this meeting of our club, and I want to welcome you all at our meeting. Hello. I can see some new faces, so I will tell you what Toastmasters Meeting is. Toastmasters is a non-profit educational organization that was founded almost 100 years ago in the United States, and it unites almost 1,600, and I cannot pronounce this number, it's too big. Who can help me?
You can write it down.
No?
I'll read it.
Huh?
You can write it down, I'll read it.
What?
If you write it down, I will read it.
1,600,000 clubs. Oh wow, that's a huge number. So in almost 134 countries all over the world. So if you go to some other country, you can find a Toastmaster club there. So how does it work? Members follow their educational program. They fulfill the assignment and give speeches at the meeting. They give speeches at the first part of the meeting, and you will hear 4 speeches today, prepared speeches. Then after the break, we will have a session for impromptu speeches. So everyone can join and can come to the stage and have some adrenaline. Maybe. Then, after that, we will have evaluation session. We've got some evaluators, and they will tell us how everything goes. What I wanted to say, first of all, let's mute our phones. So, can you do it? So let's see. And to start with, I invite to the stage newcomers. Yes, I would like you to introduce yourself, and I would invite you to the stage, please. The newcomers, yes, if you're the first time here.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, great. Hello, are you a newcomer?
No, I'm second time.
Second time
Oh,
here?
maybe third.
I don't know you. I would like to meet you. So
Okay, no problem. Okay.
So let's start with you. I would like to know your names, your occupation. How did you find about the club, and maybe your expectations about this experience?
My name is Islam. I don't remember how I had found about this Toastmasters. Yeah, it's right?
Right.
Yeah, somehow I was searching for something on the internet, and I don't remember it actually. And then yesterday I went to the site of this library, and I found that here should be some kind of training, like public speaking, and I decided to just come here because I go to public speaking training once a month, I mean in Russian language. So I have this experience, and I wanted to make sure that I can speak public in English.
Okay, thank you. Let's applaud.
Okay, my name is Natalia. I am a PR specialist and a designer. I have читательский билет office and bibliothèque. Reading something. Reading
License.
license.
Membership.
Reading license of this
Pass.
Yeah.
library. So I'm following up all the events, and I thought it would be interesting for me because I don't think that I'm a good presenter, and that's, I think I would like to improve my skills in this.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm a software engineer on blockchain space. So I just accidentally seen about this event on library website, and I decided why not. I came here.
Yeah.
So yeah, my name is Alexey.
Okay.
Alex.
Okay, my name is Ruslan, and I'm also an IT guy, programmer. I also work in startups, so I think we're okay to talk later.
Yes.
And yeah, I
Sure.
came here because I knew about Toastmasters. Actually, I was at one of the meetings in California.
Oh.
Really enjoyed it actually.
Mhm.
And now there's another one here in Moscow, but I didn't really like that one.
Mhm.
So I decided to to go here and
Okay.
just check it out.
Yeah.
And so far I really enjoyed it
That's
actually. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello everybody, my name is Alena. I work in nuclear and I'm president of Russian chapter of International Organization Women in Nuclear, and of course we have a lot of Russian in international events, and for me it's also very important to improve my public speech before the audience, and of course I like to communicate and think that communication is very important thing that can make our work the better.
Right.
Hello everyone. My name is Alexander. I'm a salesperson at a medium company. The name of my company is Montrans Omnicom Service. This is IT company, and I want to improve my presentation skills in English because I always do it in Russian, but I have no experience to do it in English, and I think it's very interesting. So this is my third time when I visit Toastmasters. I think it's very wonderful and wonderful organization. Yes.
It's a community.
Community, sorry.
Yeah, it's an organization and a community also.
Of course.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the meeting. Take your seats. And you can come later in the table topic session. It would be after break. So we'll continue, and I invite to the stage our Toastmaster of the day, and she will lead us to through the first part of the meeting. Welcome on stage, Olga Yats.
Madam Presiding Officer, dear fellow Toastmasters and guests. Has it ever occurred to you that you had some very clear idea of yourself, what you are, what you like or don't like, and only to be proven dramatically wrong? Happens to me all the time. Yeah, I can see your hand. As of the most recent example, I had always thought that extreme sports and I don't really go well together. But you know what? Last week I tried snowboarding, and not only did I like it, but I actually found out I was quite good at it for a beginner. I'm sure you have a lot of examples like that. When we have some ideas of ourselves, I can't dance, I'm bad at maths, I'm bad at languages, I'm good at languages. I think if I asked you to raise the hand, those of you who think you are serial procrastinators, I would have seen a lot of hands up in the air. And I'm also totally sure that these same people have a lot of successful projects, both professional and personal, behind their backs. So, in fact, these ideas we hold of ourselves are very poorly substantiated. Most likely we have some idea get it out of thin air, and we just cherry pick facts which support this idea, and we neglect facts which deny it, which contradict it. So today I would like to explore the ways in which we invent ourselves, sort of, the ways in which we tell our stories, good stories, bad stories, and the ways in which we can rewrite these stories so that they always have a good ending. And so, to proceed with the meeting, I would like to invite to the stage people who will help us to go through the meeting, who will assist us with our timing, with our grammar, and I would like to start with our grammarian and word of the day master Alla Ganova.
Dear friends, so I'm in two roles today. Number one, maybe, is grammarian. So my task is to notice some of your mistakes. But I promise not to be very tough on you, because it's our first meeting in the new year, so let's be polite and kind. So I promise. Number two, my word of the day is to develop. Maybe it may seem strange to you why I choose this word. But you know, my way of choosing the word was very simple. I opened the dictionary and tried to find synonyms to the verb to invent. And develop was one of the first ones. And I thought it's all right, because inventing oneself means developing oneself. Developing oneself in line with achieving your new goals maybe in the new year. That's why I appeal to all participants of today's meeting, please make use of this verb develop in all its derivatives. Developing, development, and so on and so forth. I think you, and I'll count, and I'll declare the winner. Thank you.
Thank you, Alla, for this wonderful and concise introduction of your role, and I concur. This word of the day, develop, is very fitting today to the theme of the day. And now I would like to invite our timer, Alina, who will present to you her role.
Hello everyone, dear Toastmasters, guests, newcomers. Very nice to see all of you here tonight after long holidays. Let me introduce myself again. My name is Alina and I'm going to be the timer of today's meeting. For those who don't know, our meeting consists of 4 different parts. And timer is a person responsible for observing time frames for each block. For that purpose, I've got some stuff. I will talk about it a little bit later. Now I think all of you understand that a good skill of time management is very important nowadays, especially in public speech and I think in your everyday working routine too. So following timing will be really helpful for all of us. I think so. So now, dear speakers, this information is for you. In my hands I have 3 colored sheets and I will show them to you one by one. First of all, I will show you the green sheet. I will sit in front of you so you will see me. I will show you the green sheet, then you reach your minimum time limit. That means that everything goes okay and just keep going with your speech as you did. The second sheet is the yellow one. I will show it to you when you are 30 seconds before your time is over. So be ready for that. And I will show you finally the red sheet, then your time is over. So when it happens, please try to finish your speech as soon as possible. But if you do it before I show you the red signal, that's totally fine. And in the end of the meeting, I will come back to you with my report. Thank you.
And now the time has come for the main part of today's meeting, which is prepared speeches. Our first speaker for today is doing her second project, evaluation and feedback, in the dynamic leadership pathway. So I would like to invite to the stage Alona Kim with her speech, Time to Spread Socks and Time to Collect Them. Second pathway.
Did I lay my new books in alphabetical order? Or did I remove all my stuffs from my table? No, did I mention? Did I forget? Did I do? Did I? Stop. Hi everyone, dear Toastmasters and dear guests. I hang the keys on my apartment into the order of the locker. So the first one is the tablet of the entrance. Then the second key of my apartment of the top lock, behind, following the bottom. So in this case, every time I can find the right key, for example, if something happened or if I get back home in middle night and without my phone. If I cook an omelette, I take the eggs from the box and try to stay this box in a balance. Because if I don't, this box can fall out and all eggs can break. No problem, right? But maybe in your universe, perhaps. I live in another. I always put my laptop in the case. Just because. If I don't, every time I try not to worry about some damages or scratch it. I leave out money in my wallet from small to large because it helps me very quickly and easily to pay with it in any store. Outside the house, I clap my wallet almost every few minutes just to check that my phone, my money, and my keys are on its own place. I never noticed it until my close people and my friends distinguished it. So this happens by itself. I didn't do it on purpose. So, for example, I love chocolate and I eat one chocolate bar every day. So every time I open this chocolate bar from the same side, every month I scoop out 30 identical wrappers from my paper trash and neatly opened these chocolate bars at the same side. It's really difficult to explain. It just looks better. So no matter how tired I come home, I never ever like dressed. Everything must be folded and hung. Approaching the house, I tightly squeeze my keys into my fist just not to drop it into the elevator shaft. So this habit is from my early childhood because there's no worse than not getting into your apartment. So there are different gradations of such types of people. The most difficult case when we really afraid and we cannot leave our house because we think that outside our house is very, very, very poorly organized. The world is very poorly organized. The second part of people are not so bad. And sometimes control freaks are perfect neighbors. For example, just imagine, they never have the apocalypse of dirty laundry. Or their table never resembled to a cemetery of dry pizza. Or cutlery does not migrate to their bedroom. And you can every time use the forks, clean forks and spoons in your kitchen. It seems to me there are two types of people. Let's call them the socks spreaders and socks collectors. So, usually these two types of people don't mix with each other well. Neither loving couples nor neighbors. But if the spreaders can still live without fooling themselves because they don't pay attention on these cows, the collectors are really kind of control freakers, because these control freaks try to control everything and everywhere. So, actually, I used to grumble skeptically when I saw different pictures of Albert Einstein with text like, "Why are chaotic people are the best of us?" Then, years ago, I noticed that the others are right. You know why? Because these people who don't pay attention on these cows just have more efficient energy. For example, if I calculate all the energy I waste to put everything in my life in right way, I will get a lot of jobs. So, no matter, but you know what? However, all pedantic people often can be really excellent professionals. And no matter who you are, a socks spreader or socks collector, or maybe you have a perfect match, both of them, just always be yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Iona. Now I would like to ask our timer to mark 1 minute of silence for you to evaluate Aliona's speech. You can do it online using the QR form, or you can use paper. I think you have no paper form this time, so yeah, if you have QR reader, please.
Фото надо открыть, да? Вот такой символ. Вот такой символ у нас должен быть. Вот такой? Да. Да, это здесь тоже. Нет, не делал. Я вот как раз хотел потом. Это займет время.
Our second speaker for today is doing her second speech in her second project, in her second pathway, right? Please welcome Anna Soltes with her speech Difficulties of Translation.
Dear guests and Toastmasters, I'm absolutely sure everyone in this room knows at least one foreign language. But do we have any people who knows 2 or more foreign languages? Please raise your hands. Oh, quite a lot of people. But I would like to ask you, do you really like to learn foreign languages and enjoy the process? Please raise your hands who like this. And do you have anybody who don't like?
Sometimes.
Oh, I'm glad not only me. I have to tell you the truth. I really don't like learning foreign languages. Then I first started learning English. I thought, my God, I really hate this. And I told myself, okay, English is have to know, must to know. But I will never would learn any foreign languages in my life anymore. But time have passed and I decided to learn in Polish language. And I thought, okay, Polish is simple, it is very similar to Russian, it will not be difficult. I will do it easily and quickly. But, as you can understand, nothing goes as we are expected to do or to be. So, now 3 years have gone and I cannot tell that I speak Polish well. And I'm not going today to tell you how my fate is difficult and how many problems I have learning Polish language. No. I'm going to tell you about differences between English, Polish and Russian. Because languages are really similar, but they have differences. And the first thing I would like to tell you that I myself personally think that Polish language is very discriminative towards women. And you would ask me why? Ask me. Why? Thank you. And I would answer you. You know that when we are talking about plurals, in English we use the word they. In Russian we say они, but Polish have two different words, oni and one. When we are talking about group of people and there is only one man in this group, this means oni. But if we have a group of women, children, cows, I don't know, sheep, cats, dogs, mouses, whatever, this means honor. Why? And not only I have problems learning this because all endings are different, but I cannot accept that how I will be called depends on guys. Why? So I would not tell you about word baba. In Polish it's polite. Never called me baba, please. Never. I don't like this. But forget about this, maybe it's not correct. I would tell you another thing. Then you want to tell somebody happy birthday in Polish. You know, in Russian you can just tell my congratulations towards you and best wishes and blah blah blah. But in Polish you cannot do this. Because in Polish language you can congratulate only when a person achieved something. For example, diploma, maybe new work, or something real, but not birthday. Because it not depends on the person. It doesn't what he did. So, then you want to say a person happy birthday in Polish, you have to say 100 lat. Or maybe something like najlepszego regarding to your birthday in Polish. So another interesting thing, oh, I have so little time, sorry, is that they also have a polite way of speaking. For example, in Russian we have to speak na вы. I don't know how.
And this is the description that I found in actually Toastmasters manual. But I completely agree with it. And public relations usually has one of three purposes. First person is to create this favorable image in auditory where who didn't know actually about the company or a person. Second, this is to reinforce this favorable opinion. And third, this is to change the existing negative or neutral opinion. So we are going to key elements of PR strategy, and this is brand, message, audience, and channels. So we will go through all these key elements in during this case, and we will start with the brand. So what brand? What is the brand? Who think that he knows what the brand is? You can raise your hand, please. So nobody.
It's a promise to a customer.
It's an image which is connected and associated with the product, the quality of the product, with the production of the product, the company producing this product, etc. etc.
Exactly. It's what we, let's say, feel when we meet the company, when we hear about the company, or when we meet the sign of a company, or another type of let's say meeting. First, I will introduce you more in deep to my company. We based in Russia, near Moscow, and we develop and produce composite materials, including the resins. Resins is a liquid to impregnate the fabric. Usually it's carbon fiber or glass fiber fabric, to form the composite material, to form the part which consists of two materials, the composition actually of the materials. So usually the composition is the resin and carbon fiber in the form of fabric or tape or whatever. And third typical product of our company, it's a pre-preg. It's a pre-impregnated fabric with a resin. So what we would like to our customers or our prospective customers to imagine when they meet our brand. So first, it's a high quality and high tech, of course. We would like them to know that we are world market oriented company, and we also would like them to know that we are aerospace oriented company. So we make materials for aviation and for spacecrafts. What our brand propose to our customers? First, we propose trust, because of course, if we would like to make a world-class product, we should use world-class materials. Second, it's the best in class materials and unique material. And third, there's a little mistake. First, it's support, technical support, because we would like our customers to be sure that we will help them in case they don't know how to use this material properly, because it easily could be in case they use it in the first time, for example. And the tagline, we invented it as from Russian aerospace, because we would like to be connected with, the romantic and strong image of Russian spacecrafts. So the next thing is the message. What we would like to spread for our old customers and prospective customers. First message is that you will use the world-class material to create a world-class product. This is the only way to create something world-class, is to use world class inflow. You know. So next things. As these materials used in aerospace industry, this is the best of the best, so your product will be the best of the best. We make our product proudly in Russia. This is, you know, the very important, especially this time, and they get the decent price and fair price for the product. So what's the target audience? It's of course the engineers and the top managers of the companies who produce the parts from composite materials. It's aircrafts and the spacecrafts. The next group of people is of course the technological startups who would like to start to use the composite materials, and students who only study composite materials. And how do we reach these people? First, of course, it's a website, well-designed website. It's the conferences and the fairs and the numerous articles in special magazines and websites, technical websites, and articles in other more or less connected to our theme magazines and websites. It's a business magazines and popular science magazines and websites. So we now discussed this PR strategy, but how to implement it? Actual implementation is the day-by-day job. It's the posting the articles every week to various magazines. It's participating in the fairs every month and so on. But how to measure our activity? Are we successful or not? Or no? To be honest, in our situation, it's quite hard because we get the response. We can get the response in 1 or even 2 years. So what we can do is just to hope that our day-by-day work will be rewarded. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vadim. Yeah. Oh. And again, I'm asking you to give your feedback to Vadim during 1 minute using this QR code. And I would like to invite to the stage our presenter of the last prepared speech, Zhenya Pak, with her speech up to challenge project leading in difficult situations.
Hi Toastmasters, hi dear guests. Today I wanted to share my experience leading in a very difficult situation. Also wanted to share some of the techniques that I used during a very hard time, which was for me Olympics 2018. This is the mascot of Winter Olympics 2018 in Korea. And the very challenging and probably the very hardest experience I had in my entire life was when I was working for Olympics with corporate clients. And we had a team of project managers, of hosts, of volunteers, of drivers working with these corporate clients, providing hospitality experience, and our sole goal of the whole team of about 100 people was to provide outstanding hospitality experience to these corporate clients. And so I was the host, and I had 4 other hosts who were helping me out during this time working with corporate clients. And even though I wasn't directly involved in planning the hospitality program for the clients, but because we had the whole project managers in the team working for the hospitality program months in advance. But nevertheless, even though this program was so meticulously planned for a very long time, I experienced a lot of disruptions, a lot of uncertainties, a lot of challenges, even though it was so well planned. And so, yes, a lot of changes, uncertainties, and quite often I would find myself in, panic. So I wanted to share disruptions not only about related to organization and to administration of Olympic Games and my job, but disruptions related to my personality. So the first one is obvious, I would say, is public speaking, because my role was to speak in front of around 20 executives staring at me in the bus on the mic, and my sole purpose was to make a right impression, to make them entertained, to make sure that they have a very great time. But at the same time, I was really struggling to physically stand up straight, because the bus was moving in all different directions, and I was literally trying hard not to fly over the window in the bus. So with public speaking, I was really horrified, because everyone was a native speaker, right? And I was constantly conscious about my language, about my looks, about my accent. And I came to a moment when I realized that I cannot hear anything but my pulse inside of me. So the horror was real. And then I said to myself, you can't like continue like this. You have to do something about it. And so I came up with a strategy, and probably most of the public speakers here, the strategy is when you look into the audience and you look at the people who look friendly, and you make eye contact with them, because any audience have these individuals who look at you and who are very energetic, who are very positive, and so you just focus on them, and you don't really pay attention to people who are on their phones, who look bored, or who don't pay attention to you. So this strategy partially helped me. Another one is I try to present as if I was talking casually to one of my friends, and it also helped me partially to just calm down and to initially get back my confidence. So partially, yes, it helped me. Another one is another challenge, a real challenge I had was that I had to be around people 24/7, literally, because it was very intense. Olympics, people everywhere, and everyone is talking to you. Everyone is asking questions. I have all these guests, 20 people, constantly asking me about the sports, about the Olympics, about what's going on around, and also hosts. And so everyone is just so energetic. And for me, I'm very introverted. So for me, it was a disaster, really, to just like be around people 24/7 and to present myself well. And so what did I do? Well, I every morning I would wake up and I would go to the mirror and I would tell myself, just today you just put on the mask of a very extroverted person, and you go out there and you pretend as if you're an extrovert, right? So you pretend to be very energetic, you pretend to be very proactive, and you pretend to be a very charismatic person. So this helped me a lot, and I would suggest actually to some of you who are introverts to try this trick, especially when you don't feel like going out, talking to people, introducing yourself. It might help. It helped me during the tough time that I had. The last one is staying focused, staying motivated, and staying energetic under very unfavorable circumstances that I was working on. So it was Winter Olympics. It was freezing cold, and a lot of time we had to work outside, right? So it was freezing, and at those moments I was just you know, I couldn't motivate myself. I was just like, oh, inside myself. But then I had to do something about it. And so I would ask myself, what would Sheryl Sandberg do in this situation? How would she behave? And Sheryl Sandberg is one of my role models, a very strong person, a very successful person. And I would suggest anyone here who is going through a hard time, who is, you know, having this challenging, disruptive experiences, just ask yourself what your role model do in this situation, and you will find that actually it's quite empowering, because you will feel as if your role model is guiding you to make these tough decisions, and it can help a lot. It helped me, and I'm sure you could try this as well. So to conclude, I wanted to ask all of you, maybe some of you, if you have questions about you know, other type of disruptions that I had during Olympics game, to ask me, because it is part of my project, so I have to also do the Q&A session, so I would really appreciate that. Yes.
Maybe I missed the part, but I want to know who is your role model in sport?
In sport?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this is a very, very tough question. You know, I would say that probably Rafael Nadal, because he's a very successful tennis player, and I used to play tennis for 5 years when I was at school, so I would say yes, he's one of my role models, and I guess for many people as well, because he's just a model of how successful a sportman can be. Yeah.
By the way, what was the funniest moment during this experience?
In Olympics?
Yeah.
Well, actually, yes, regarding the disruptions that we had in our program, I remember one of our guests, he had an allergy, and so we were up in the mountains. It of ski competition, I think, and so it was very far in the mountain, and he wanted to eat something, but the problem was that at the concession stands that we had around that area in the mountains, there was only food that he cannot eat, and so he would be very hungry, and he would ask us to bring him food, right? And so I remember it was like a military operation, because we had to like really act really fast to get the food from I don't know, from very, very far away, and we had to be very creative, you know, to get the drivers, to get our security, because, you know, it's not that easy, because there are so many people, and it was just crazy, but then somehow we managed to call the restaurants and make them prepare the food, and we made the drivers to go down in the village to take the food, and we brought it to this person, but it was just a disaster, because it took like so much time. Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much for your presentation. I want to ask a question in line with the theme of the meeting. So you mentioned that you are a very introverted person,
yes.
right? How did you invent yourself to the extent that you found yourself in this situation where you should act as an extrovert?
So yes, as I mentioned earlier, every morning I would just look into the mirror, and I would just say, you know, just one day, just put on the mask. Yes.
No. Yes. The question was not how, but why? Why did you choose that?
Why? Because, you know, I felt that there are so many situations, my job being an example, where you wouldn't succeed if you were the introvert. Because you really have to be really proactive and really energetic and really charismatic, because this executive, they have to be entertained, right? And they wouldn't be entertained if I would be just like, oh, you know, like standing by myself, like inside myself, and, you know, like speaking maybe calmly, and as opposed to the way I behaved as an extrovert. So in this situation, I would say I really had to succeed in my job. And I would say there are so many situations these days when you have to really be out there, to approach people, to sell something to people, to really be out there. So I would yes, say that. Yes.
Being in such intense situations, I often find myself being unable to motivate myself with examples of other
yes.
people or some future goal ahead of me. So how do you cope when you find yourself in such situation? How do you recharge your batteries?
Yes, as I mentioned before, for me it's also extremely hard, but the one thing I have is I have my role models, right? And as I said before, I just know their biographies, and I read how they behave in certain situations, and I also watch their YouTube videos, the way they talk to the audience, the way they tell about hard situations and the strategies they have. So for me, I would say I would just ask myself, what would they do in this situation? How would be their thought process like, and behavioral patterns and their decision-making process, and it helps me a lot. Yes. Yes.
I remember you said that it was really difficult to build a confidence
Yes.
in you. So what was the most difficult moment, except this one? I mean, what was the most challenging experience that you had while your participation in Olympic Games?
So I would say, as I mentioned previously, I would say among all three that I had, public speaking was definitely the hardest one. And I think partially it was because English is not my native language. And when you talk to also non-native English speakers, you feel confident because everyone is making mistakes, and you feel confident that no one is going to judge you. But when you talk to people who are actually native English speakers, you feel very conscious because you're afraid to make mistakes. And for me, it was a real fear of making mistakes, and I felt very not confident at all, and I felt that people are judging me because I'm making mistakes or because they don't like the stuff that I say and things like that. So for me, definitely, yes, the language and communication was the hardest part during Olympics.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes. I think it's the time, right? Okay, last question, yeah.
Also, yes, but in your speech you mentioned that you are an introvert person, but looking at you during your speech, you understand your emotion, your gesture shows us that you are so open person, very open, very proactive, and very communication person.
Yes.
And my question, now you already put the mask before you deliver
this
the
is
speech
the interesting. This is the interesting question, because I found that every time I come to the stage in Toastmasters, I have this rush of adrenaline and energy, and that's why I behave like this. But actually, in my day-to-day life, I would prefer to be covered in blankets and not to go outside too often, especially at this time. Yes, but Toastmasters definitely makes me go out of my comfort zone, and also besides Toastmasters, in my job environment, when I have to also do some kind of presentation or talk to some senior executives or managers, I really do the same, as in Toastmasters. I just imagine myself, I'm just gonna make a presentation as in Toastmasters, so I'm just approach them. And yes, partially I would think okay, I will put on my mask of extroversion, and even though in the heart I'm very introvert. Yeah.
Thank you, Zhenya. Now I would like you again to evaluate Zhenya's speech, give her some feedback. For 1 minute, please.
For everybody, I will speak about this topic. I think that it is very important topic for everybody, because I think that the aim of the topic is to communicate and to get new better about each other, and of course to grab an opportunity of having a speech during our meeting. So I would like to tell you that I'm really lucky to be here today and to make this table topic session about this subject, about inventing ourselves. I think that everybody in this audience, everybody had sometimes this thinking about ourselves and about developing of ourselves. But of course, it's difficult. It's difficult to go to the stage and to speak about it. And that's why, for preparing to this table topic session, I asked two of my daughters to help me. So that's why I think that you don't need to be nervous about the questions, because they're funny. And especially pictures, they like to choose pictures. So I think that we could have some fun today. And about rules for this table topic, especially for newcomers, I would describe it shortly. We have to find somebody from the audience who wants to come here and to present himself and to answer the question. You can raise the hand and you'll come here. I'll put the button and you'll see the picture and you'll see the sign, the question. I'll read the question, I think, yes. And you have 30 seconds for thinking about your answer, or maybe if you want, you can answer immediately. And after you prepare, you should start speaking. Before to speak, you should introduce yourself. It's enough if you can say your name. And I will write your name here, yes, to vote after this session. Of course, we have time limit for this session. The minimum of your speech it should be 1 minute. Maximum is 2 minutes. Of course, we have our timer, a counter, and as I remember, after 1 minute, you have to take a sign, green sign. After 1.5 minutes, you will see yellow sign, and the red sign is 2 minutes, and it means that you're in trouble. So, please, does anybody want? Yes, okay, you can come, yes. Excuse me, and the pen? Where is the pen? No.
Hello.
What is your name?
I'm Serge.
Serge, yes. Over there. Serge, yes? Serge?
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
It's very nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you too. And so the first question is, have you ever had the feeling that you want to put your head in the ground? Did you get out of this situation?
So thank you for the question. I mean, I came here especially to share my experience, maybe to add something to the speech of Zhenya and to the theme of the topic of the meeting, which Oda proposed. And so this is my topic because I've always been finding myself in a situation when I want to, put my head into the ground and forget, or maybe crumble down, and so that people forget me and forgive me and just don't believe me and something like that. Because I've been trying to invent myself throughout all my life. So I basically lived, I think, almost half of the normal human life. And as people say, it's like age is only numbers, and that's it. So during my invention of myself, I've been trying different things, different professions, different hobbies even. I worked as a freelance engineer, even salesperson, yes. And by the approaching to the second half of my life, I think I finally found myself. And to give you an example of the situation which is similar to that, I think it was maybe when there were a lot of situations, but I will pick out just one. It was when I became a president of a Toastbusters club, and it was my very first day, when I had to open the meeting, to have a presentation, to greet people, and I felt as a kind of piece of rubbish. And I was very conscious about my behavior, language, and stuff like that. So I just waited when it would finally over. But when it got over, people started closing, and after the meeting they came to, oh, you're fantastic, great energy and stuff like that. So I thought, maybe it's just kind of, you should forget about, you know, your nervousness and stuff like that. People won't notice it, or maybe it would like be favorable enough. So guys, don't like worry too much about that.
Okay.
Olga, excuse me.
And so next. Have you ever tried to get rid of your bad habits?
Yes. I'm trying all the time, but my bad habits, at least many of them, are still here. So, yeah. Like Mark Twain or someone said, it's very easy to give up smoking, I've done it many times. Yeah. One actually good piece of advice that I discovered somewhere on the internet, on self-help books, was to, instead of just trying to get rid of a bad habit, maybe it's better to try to replace it with something else. For example, I had a habit, not really bad one, but I used to watch some YouTube in the morning while taking breakfast, some, I don't know, stupid videos about some talk shows, I don't know, some cat videos, and I thought, well, I mean, it's not a bad habit really, but I thought I could be doing something else. I could using this time in another way, and I tried to find out what could I do, because usually when I wake up in the morning I'm not really able to do something consciously, you know, before I have my coffee. And so I thought I was trying out really different things, and what I found worked good for me was listening to books on Audible, which is very similar to YouTube, but actually you can get some useful information in your head. So yeah, that's my piece of advice to you. Don't just get rid of a bad habit, try to install a good habit instead of it.
So the next one? No?
Just a second.
This one, okay. Just a second. What would you
Create.
Excuse me, what would you create for yourself if you were a magician?
I would create a motivation, because that's what I lacked for a long time, and I didn't know why did I lose the motivation, because I work and I used to love my work, but then something happened and I didn't know what. And what I decided to do, I went to, because I work at home usually, but then my friend told me that I should work in a co-working space, because he said this is the perfect place to improve your motivation. So I did. I went to co-working space, and my motivation increased, but I was totally exhausted and I couldn't sleep at night. So that was not really a good decision in this case. So I realized that to improve the motivation, the best way to improve the motivation is to do what I really love. To find something that I love, just for sure, and to find my dream, to find my mission in this life, and to follow this every single moment, being here and now, and doing the things I love. And that's the thing which I'm going to improve this year.
You're
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The motivation is really, it's very important thing. Who else wants to come here to the stage and to be a part, okay, of the session? Up here.
Vadim.
No, my God, again, mistake.
Almost.
But almost Alexei.
So, the next question is, what is the best way to find harmony inside yourself?
Oh, it's a very good question. You know, for me, there are two ways to find harmony inside myself. The first is to, you know, make something where you can be in the, you know, in the, let's say, for example, sport. You always make something in you totally inside it. You have no time to think. You only must do something, and that will clear my head. So and bring harmony to me, no matter how bad I felt before that. So and the second best way is to take a meditation. No, I don't practice meditation too much. Let's say once or twice a month. But you know, it really helps when you try to not to think. But next time you try to not to think of you know, white, let's say white cat or something. Then after that you try not to think at all, and then you finish, you know, with a clear head. So this also brings harmony to me. That's all.
Thank you. Have you flied during the meditation?
No.
No?
I'm just sitting.
I'm a person like this. You want?
Yes, I want.
Yes, Alex.
Alex, yes.
Yeah.
You remember my name?
And the next question is, no. Have you ever had any situations when you decided to start your life from the beginning?
Oh, I would say I do it every morning. From Monday, like that. But I think we always have these situations when we feel that we are not sufficient with what we have in life, what we are in life. And when I have this situation, I just think, what did it bring me to the conditions that I feel like that? It means that in some previous situation, when I felt like that, I didn't do what I'm gonna do now. So, and I'm like sit down and meditate. I like meditation too because it brings you back to present. And if when you're present, you are continuously doing what you want really, what pumps you up, what you're aspiring for. You just do it naturally, and you don't have to force yourself. Like I will drop drinking from Monday or something like that. You're just natural in your actions, in your thoughts, and in your being. So that's all I can say.
Thank you. The next one?
And the last one.
The last one.
Thanks.
Of course. Yes, I think that this is the last one.
My name is Alena.
I know now. Okay. And the question is, yes, what is the best way to find motivation to develop yourself?
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you for the question. I think this question is very important for everybody here. And I think motivation gives us the purpose of the life, give us the meaning of the life. And I think it's very important because if we ask who we are, for understanding, of course we find the motivation of the life. And first of all, we consist 1 minute, because I know this is 1 minute, we consist of the body, mind, and soul. And this is three things is very important for us. And if we develop all these things, we develop our mind, talking, communication, thinking, deepest meditation, or other thing. This will be very good for us, will be very benefit for us. The body, we do everyday exercises, we do everybody morning exercise, morning or evening exercises, we train the body, it's also very nice. And of course the feeling, emotion, feelings feel us that we're still alive. And this is motivation that life is beautiful. And motivation we feel that life is around us. Through this part of our who we are, we feel the life much better and enjoy the life. Thank you.
Aha, okay. Then, yes. Then please, we have yes, we have papers, forms for voting. Who has an application, you can vote on your mobile phones, and who need the forms? Yes, okay. And who else? This is the form for voting.
Final part of the meeting, the evaluation, which will be conducted and coordinated by our channel evaluator, Sergei Balmashov.
Thank you very much for this. So guys, we finally approached the final and the most important part of our meeting. So let's see how we all performed here, especially those who've been here on stage. Hope they will have more opportunity to be here. So first I will start with the personal evaluators, then I will give the stage to my experts. Two experts on my team, but that's pretty much enough, I think. And then I will, if I have enough time, I will share my opinion on what I witnessed here. So let's start with evaluation of speeches. And first, I'd like to invite here on stage is Evelina Mankirova, who will evaluate Alena Kim's speech. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I want to start off by thanking Alena for delivering such an entertaining speech. Though there are some points I want to highlight. First, you began with personal story, which is, as for me, one of the most effective means to engage your audience, to attract the audience attention. And from the beginning, I feel together with the name of the presentation, I feel the intrigue, and I was eager to follow you and to know what will be next. But it seemed to me that this introductory part with your personal experience was a bit long, and I suggest it can be cut and be half of the main part. Next, I noticed that your eyes were wandering around the room while you were presenting, and in fact I do have the same problem. And once one of my evaluators gave me a great piece of advice to see everyone in the room as your friends, or imagine that you are presenting in front of your family or friends. What I really like is your gestures, because looking at your gestures, you were it feels that you were really confident and at ease at this stage. And another strong point in your presentation is your vocal variety. I really like it. The pace of your speech, the intonation, the phonetic scales, the tones. You were emphasizing the main points, which make your speech really clear. So I thank you again for this interesting and informative speech. And I wish you luck for your present, for your future projects.
Thank you.
They usually give, a leave without giving me a handshake.
Sorry.
Yeah, but anyway, I don't know, very constructive feedback and evaluation. Not really, overloaded with different things, and precise enough. So, well done. I think you can share more, feedback later, right? Good. So the next person later is Anna-Elina. Surprisingly, welcome to evaluate the speech of Anna subject.
Dear Anna, thank you for your second entertaining speech. The purpose of your project was to make a speech and incorporate and apply the feedback you got at the latest speech. You could choose a new one, but you can repeat your last project. And you decided to repeat your project, but you almost changed the content. You left the very great topic of language misunderstandings. That is very, and sometimes it's might be not clumsy, no. Can you with the word awkward? It can cause awkward situations, but at the same time it can be very funny to exchange cultural differences and language differences. So your so the topic is great, and we are very happy to hear these language differences again. But the thing is, you chose other situations, other examples of language differences, because I was present at your speech, and I still remember that in Polish стул – это кресло, а ковер – это диван. And so these examples, no?
No.
No, I checked the dictionary.
Okay.
Okay. So I like these examples at your previous speech. They were very clear, and they were funny a little bit than today's, because they were a little bit more complicated. They were more. I think you gained much more language, and your examples became more complicated. But now I know that in Polish there are gender for plural. As for your presentation, I liked how you elicit the why question from the audience. So everyone participated, asking what, repeating the why. I liked it a lot. Though I think you were not so confident today as you were at the previous speech. Maybe you had less time for preparation or some. I noticed that you tried to apply the feedback. You changed the introduction, right? Though I think it was a little bit, was not connected with the body again. So, as I have no time, we will discuss it after the meeting, okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna. Thank you. cameraman left us. Did he leave a bomb? Okay, sorry for that. So, very nice. Very nice evaluation. However, I would suggest you to, next time, to give a kind of an outline, you know, like a main idea of what was good and what could have been done better, and then discuss the details later. You know, shorten and give more clear, you know, picture to the audience. But nevertheless, nice, not bad. No, relax. That's it. So the next person who's going to evaluate Vladimir Mikrin's speech is Alexander Fedorenko. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Dear Timer, how much time do you have? I have 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Thank you very much. Dear Toastmasters and guests, dear Vadim, thank you very much, first of all, for letting me be your personal evaluator. Today, you've done your 11th project, so please allow me to be a bit more harsh than I would probably be with some people with less experience than you are. First of all, I would like to say that I really loved looking at you at the stage. Of course, not very often because I needed to do some notes, but still, the tone of your voice is very pleasant to listen to. You use the pitch and the vocal varieties quite effectively. I also noticed that you use your gestures also very nicely, and you are very confident in front of the public, and you also try to keep the eye contact with most of the audience. Sometimes some people still lack it because you didn't look at me, I think, even once, but these are just some small details. Now, that was, you know, the positive part. Now a little bit to the negative part. Please allow me to read the purpose of Vadim's speech. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice the skills needed to effectively use public relations strategies for any group or situation. And also the purpose of the speech is for the member to share some aspect of his or her public relations strategy. And there is one line that is written here specifically for me as for an evaluator. The speech should not be a report on the content of the public relations strategies project. So as I understood the idea of the project, you were supposed to take a situation, a company, and you were supposed to deliver a strategy. So imagine that we are here, work in your company, and you need to tell us where the company goes to in terms of PR. What you did, probably you will agree, probably you will disagree, but you can also give some comments later. What you did, half of your speech, you tried to tell us what PR strategy is. And half of your speech was slightly, you know, touching upon the strategy itself. But if you look at the presentation and if you take your words, you would pretty much put any company and not the technological company you were talking about. So what I would probably do, if I were you, I would actually do some analysis and I would think of the public relations strategy. I would probably talk about what your company is, where it is going to, who it is intended for, what is the product, and who is the audience, and what you want to get this audience to do by the public relations strategy. For example, we sell this product, our audience is the engineers, we need to meet these engineers at the fair, we need to get some contacts from them, and in the end we need them to buy this product, to use it, and to become brand ambassadors of the product. So I would say that overall, your speech itself, as you know, the speech was quite nice, but I don't think that you effectively presented the topic and you reached the purpose of the speech. So my recommendation would be to repeat this project. I know that it doesn't happen very often in our clubs because we try to be very nice, but I would urge you to repeat this project and this time try to deliver a PR strategy as if we're people who would work with this strategy. Okay,
okay, but
we can discuss all the details later. Yeah.
Finally, tough evaluation, fantastic approach, I like it. Sasha is a very professional evaluator, so as you could see, and as am I just many professional debaters, they usually exceed their time limits. So keep track on time next time. But they nevertheless, nice. Right, great. So the final, last but not the least, evaluator. So who will evaluate the speech of Evgeny Pak's project is Ekaterina Yanushchikina. Welcome.
Hello dear Toastmasters and dear guests of today's meeting. I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to evaluate Zhenya's speech because this speech was really great, and you know this is very hard to evaluate an experienced speaker, but still I have to find something that you need to improve, Zhenya. First I want to start with good things that I noticed in your speech. First is your smile. Your smile is really winning the audience. It is very, very nice, and your energy. You came on the stage and you filled the whole room with your energy, and it is very good for the speaker. But what I noticed, you need to move through the stage because the gesture it was for me too little move and too little gesture, because it seemed to me that kind of you don't allow to yourself to feel the audience, to feel the room. You feel you have so much energy, but you stay you stay here and you didn't move for your whole speech. The second thing that I think you need to develop is the eye contact with the audience, because you as for me, what I noticed, you paid a little too little attention to this part of the audience. And look at these kind ladies, they need your attention. You can talk to them, and not only to the people who sit on the back of the room. And what about the content? You had a well-organized speech. You had the introduction, you had the main part, and you had the conclusion. But what I think you need to improve in your speech is the main part of your speech. You can talk about, you can describe the case that you had. Then you can talk about what helped you to get through this situation. Then the next case and the next qualities. And what you did, you talked about everything, every difficulty that you had, and then you talked about everything that helped to you to deal with all the situation in general. And
No, it wasn't like that. Sorry, it wasn't like that.
It was to me. It was like that. I give to you my personal impression of your speech, and we can discuss. Just get a notice that it can be perceived by the audience like that, like I perceived it. But what I want to tell as a conclusion, the audience really loves you. And it loves your speech. Look at the number of questions that the audience, that you get from the audience. It is a very, very good feedback. It shows that your speech was very interesting to the audience. So continue as you do, and good luck.
Thank you very much, Ekaterina. So, constructive feedback. However, I didn't get. No, first of all, I'd just like to comment on the way usually it can be done. It could have been done better. So when people, it happens often when people say, "Oh, you've done a great speech. You know, you did that. That is fantastic." And then, but everything just crumbles inside the, this presenter. So be careful with like strong words. But like maybe, however, like I would suggest use something like that, and it will, and a person will perceive your evaluation like with more kind of better, basically. And also, what I wanted to hear is that your evaluation was very constructive. And however, you evaluated only on like mostly on like body language and like behavior and the structure of the speech. However, I would like you to comment more on the sort of the goals of the projects. So I think that this topic wasn't really uncovered as like, in a way. But you are good evaluator, and I think you will develop. So continue doing that. So we are coming to the yes. Time is crucial. So let's hear from our experts. So let's invite on the stage our grammarian and word master Alla Ganova. I will help you with the next team.
Toastbusters, dear guests, as I promised, I wouldn't be very tough. And it's very easy for me because mostly the level of the language today was very high in general. And if there had been prizes for the language, I think the winners could have been Alexandra Fedorenko and Evgeny Pak. Let's applaud them. There are some tips. As to mispronunciations, we should wear socks. It should be neutral. It is support. Raise your hand. And this very sad word, said from our pronunciation, think. Your tongue is between your teeth. It is not think, as it sounded very often, but it is think. And very typical mistake, often no sound t. Then, as to words and phrases that are grammatically incorrect, misuse of prepositions, attention to, not on. Then have come, not came. I completely agree. And finally, in this section, we are based in Russian. Then poor construction concerning mostly word order. It was necessary to get to understand other people better. There was a lack of movements, lack of gestures. I could have suggested some variants of use of the words. People living in Poland mostly are Poles, not Polish. Polish is an adjective, as you know.
I know.
Yes. Then there was a project entitled Difficulties in Translation. It should have been better if you said differences in translation. Then somebody said about decent prices. In my opinion, it is wrong. Decent may be opinion, decent words, but not prices. Very beneficial, it should be very beneficial and not the benefit. Let me give the examples of excellent use of words and idioms. It was must to know English, and a proactive person, very good word. And finally, let me conclude with the winners of today, this word, Unfortunately, only 2 persons used it. It is Vadim Mikrin and Alena. They used develop. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And finally, our very important expert, the timer, Alina Rachmanjanova. Welcome.
Thank you. Dear speakers, first of all, I want to thank all of you. All speeches was very good and it was very interesting to listen all of you. So I will try to be brief. Speaking about first part, prepare speech. We have the winner of this part. It's Evgenia, because her speech was very, very good. She finished her prepared speech in 7 minutes after she began, and she finished Q&A section in 14 minutes. So you almost in time frame. And Vadim had the longest speech. I think you know about it. What can I advise? Is, in my opinion, you had too long introduction with the audience. So try. And yes, my short advice to all of you, despite the fact that Jenny advised to have eye contact only with one friendly person, please try to change it sometimes to see the signs and then people show to you. So it really helps and it works. So speaking about table topics, all participants, we don't have winners and we don't have losers actually, but I want to acknowledge Alex, because even he did not see my signal, he did very good job. So yes, you were not looked at me, but you did. You had 1 minute and 30 seconds from 2 minutes.
I should admit I can't see any signals
Yeah,
at all.
yeah. So
This
and speaking about personal evaluators, all people did a good job, and Katerina, you had the longest speech. I think you know. So, but in general, all of you were very good. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I see unknowingly you're like clapping time. So a very short on time, but you've got the QR code for evaluating the meeting overall. So can you please put it on the screen? And while the audience is voting, I will give use my couple of minutes to give some advice to the organizers of the club. So first of all, please put your social media is fantastic. Your mails, emails, the design is really nice. It's improved greatly, so I like it very much. However, I didn't find any, mention of agenda. So there wasn't an agenda on the website, even not a link at all. So if it's not complete, it could even be put on the website so that people can get some idea of what is going to happen. And then, I think that the best advice which I can give you is the single officer here today at the meeting is that delegate. If you don't have some a helping hand, you can find them in the audience. There are a lot of people who are ready to help, especially newcomers. They will help be involved, more in the club. So just find a person. Or can you please me to give out papers, or can you please spread out something, help with tables and stuff, chairs and stuff like that. Delegate. It's great. You'll find a great experience. So you'll both like it, basically. And also, please make more comfortable devices for the timer, because I see how Alina was struggling with these sheets of paper. It's not very comfortable. So please do that sometime in the future. Better sooner than later. So then our great Toastmaster of the day, Olga Jacek, fantastic job. You have improved greatly. So I've been witnessing Olga for maybe 2 years or something, and I saw her first steps, and now she's like her party in the full swing, and she's like doing the great job. I really, and usually people say, oh, don't use. Ole's got a fantastic language, you know, great words, you know, smashing, you know, terms, and usually people say, oh, don't use such complicated words, they're too difficult for the audience to understand, but no, use them, because people should aspire to the best examples, and Ole is the best example, so I congratulate you on that as well. However, like you prepared a really nice theme of the meeting. I really like it. It resonates to me and to, I think, a lot of people. And I would like to see more development of the topic. Maybe you could prepare some questions beforehand, so that people who take the stage could answer some questions about their personal development. You know, it usually like makes the audience more engrossed into the whole thing. So it's for the future, but the rest of the stuff is just amazing. Well done. And yes, and for the tabletop master, of course, a good job. Are you? How long have you been to the club?
It's my fourth meeting.
Really nice. I mean, you've done really well. You just tell us about the rules. You explain the topic, everything. Write down. Usually people forget something, but you didn't forget anything. The voting process could have been, you know, shorter. Maybe you could say, okay, there are sheets of papers. Then you can, after voting, you can pass them to someone, and that's it. But overall, good, very nice. So well done. Let's. I'm passing the stage to the bravest person here, Anna.
Thank you, Sergey. Thank you, everyone. And now we're going to take a very short but very energetic award session. First of all, I would like to let you know who is the table topics winner, and it is Olga Jacek. Come to the stage. One more ribbon for you. Can someone take a picture of us, please? Just 1 second. I will share your fame. Thank you. Now I would like to welcome to the stage two ladies who had recently got their birthdays, Anna and Tatiana. I want to present, this is for Anna. And this is for Tatiana.
Not the same.
And
But not the same inside.
Mine. No. Just.
Okay. And who will make a picture of
Yeah,
us?
who will make a picture?
You, okay.
Yes, we can.
I'll take my picture. You will choose
Congratulations. Also, I would like to say that we have, it doesn't work. Our next meeting is on 22nd of January, Wednesday, and if you want to take any roles, approach me and sign for a role. And we are having, today we have a special guest, an area director. Area is a union of 4 clubs in Moscow, 4 Toastmasters clubs, and I welcome on stage Maria Kalugina. Would you like to speak on your own?
Yes, of course. Extremely happy to welcome all of you. And I have today a happy mission to congratulate the best speakers, the bright members, and brilliant performance of your Toastbusters Club. Members know about a wonderful tradition in Toastmasters community. Every year we choose the best, the winner of some nominations. And today I will. Do you need any help? I want to announce two of them. And the winner is the best speaker of 2019. 19. Vadim Mikrin.
You're the best speaker of the class.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sorry for mistake.
Oh.
And
let me take the picture.
okay. And the present for you, to the purpose your speech becomes better. This is good for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for you.
Thank you.
And the second nomination, the best icebreaker, Evelina Mankirova.
Photo is the book for
Yes, yes.
Is it present?
How was it? The same? Thank you very much.
There is one team.
Tatiana Gladisheva, and your prize goes to her. Best table topic speaker Ivan Sankov. Best table topic master Nikolai Denisenko. And this is
for me.
For you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your attention.